Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlickers, shills, debt slayers, peasants, vassals, minions, meat sacks. I'm Useful Idiot. Welcome, and let's go to Syria and talk about the fact that the so-called opposition to the Assad government in Syria is in a shambles, and certainly there's lots of infighting going on. So let's go through some of the gruesome details. So first of all, as we know, there's been peace talks of which the United States has not been a part, going on with Russia and Turkey involved in Syria, and also involving certain elements of the opposition. And so far, they're working out the details themselves. But as usual, the war goes on. There's some Syrian opposition that's actually abandoning the struggle. And as I've discussed in previous videos, of course, we knew that was going to happen once U.S. support was in question. And it turns out apparently the pipeline of weapons is drying up as we speak. And therefore, a lot of the opposition is just deciding to abandon their struggle against the Assad government. They can see the writing on the wall as Assad reconsolidates his position across the country, and this new peace talks are geared towards creating a concerted effort to get rid of ISIS. And so it looks like the Assad regime will survive. And once again, the Kurds are not invited. So not only do you have the United States sideline, but the Kurds are not invited. So their struggles are going to be for naught again. But one of the other developments that was interesting is that Representative Tulsi Gabbard went over there in a controversial move and came back, met with Assad, and also came back and said that there are no moderate rebels. And so we knew that. We've known that all along. And just more confirmation. At least now we have somebody representing the government that's stating what needs to be said, that there are no moderate rebels. We've been supporting Al-Qaeda and the struggle against Assad over there all these years, including Saudi Arabia. And it looks like Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates are also backing down their support for the rebels, so-called rebels, and Al-Qaeda resisting Assad and trying to topple the Assad regime too. So things are changing dramatically. And then we have discussions between Trump and Putin coordinating efforts against ISIS there, as well as Trump discussing possible safe zones or no-fly zones and protection of refugees. And then the idea of introducing ground troops, which I find it must be a rumor. But anyway, the fact that this situation in Syria continues to be a clusterfuck and is getting more and more difficult to unravel, and elements constantly shifting. It's really been hard to keep up with all the morphs. One of the other morphs we have is the battles between ex-al-Nusra Front attacking other groups, and as we would suspect, there's going to be power struggles between all the various groups. There's so many of them struggling against the Assad regime in Syria, and of course there's a power struggle between 5 very large groups and then all the smaller groups, and it dissipates their efforts, and one of the reasons why, certainly why their efforts to topple the Assad regime have ultimately failed. So now there's opposition of the opposition. We have an announcement of a coalition to resist al-Nusra Front, and then now al-Nusra Front also announced its own coalition that includes U.S.-backed groups to resist that opposition. So now we have that going on, besides the fact that so many are just going to abandon the struggle. So I would imagine that al-Nusra Front is going to find themselves in a really bad situation soon, as well as all these other opposition groups, because theoretically under the Trump administration and coordinating with Putin, all those groups will be targeted as one, along with ISIS, and therefore things could change dramatically over there. So we'll be watching for that. And one of the other things that was interesting that came out regarding Syria, of course, is more leaked Clinton emails. And at this point, nobody's really paying attention to Clinton emails. But some more leaked Clinton emails came out that revealed the connection between ISIS and Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and talked about needing to apply more diplomatic pressure and use traditional assets to cut off Saudi Arabia and Qatar and those countries from financing ISIS. So there seems to be an acknowledgement and a knowledge in the U.S. government. Certainly Hillary Clinton and the Obama administration all knew that all along Saudi Arabia has been financing ISIS and Al Qaeda in Saudi Arabia and probably Iraq as well. So anyway, of course, a lot of us have all known that for many years now, but we just continue to get more confirmation. So there's knowledge that Saudi Arabia was shipping weapons, and Clinton in 2013 said that, quote, the Saudis have exported more extreme ideology than any other place on earth over the course of the last 30 years, unquote. And also knew that they were arming and training Al Qaeda as well. So pretty serious acknowledgement that relationship existed and is at the heart of this situation. So people who think that simple narrative of good and evil in the Middle East better take a closer look at information like this, where we get confirmation that Western powers and their allies are the ones who are supporting ISIS and Al Qaeda. And so now we find the situation in Syria continuing to morph. So let's just keep an eye on it now and see where these new elements go. But like I say, I think we're going to see a concerted effort between the United States and Russia to lump all the opposition to the Assad regime as one entity and go after all of them. So the war will, as always in Syria, will just morph into a new phase. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.